Hello everyone, my name's Abhishek and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll show you how to use Claude Code with OpenRouter and with popular open models like DeepSeek V4 Flash. This is the most economical way of using Claude Code, so make sure you watch the video till the end. And to make it simple, I prepared a GitHub repository which has the detailed steps. So after watching the video, if you also want to configure the same thing, you can follow the steps in the GitHub repo. The link is in the description and also in the pinned comment. Let's get started. Let's start with understanding what is the advantage of using Claude with OpenRouter. Like, why are we even learning this today? Today, Claude is a very powerful AI coding agent. Everyone wants to use Claude Code, but there is a catch. The catch is that by default, Claude Code, let's say you install Claude Code CLI, it comes with Anthropic's proprietary models or the frontier models. The models like Fable, Opus, Sonnet, Haiku, they are expensive models. Now, not everyone can afford models like Fable because if you want to use Fable throughout the month, you at least have to go with 200 US dollars, like the Claude Code Max plan. If you're an active developer, active DevOps engineer using AI on day-to-day basis, you would need this. Now, there is an alternative. What you can do, instead of going this frontier models, you can actually go with open models. Because today, open models are also becoming very popular. Models like GLM5 or models like Quencoder model or even the DeepSeek model. You can go with these models. But there is another challenge here. The challenge is that these open models are definitely powerful. Okay, what is an open model? Just like open source applications, open models are something where you can see the weights of these models. You can download these models. If you want, you can even redistribute these models, like you can fine tune these models. But the problem is that not everyone has enough compute to run these models. Let's say you're using a personal machine like a laptop. Your laptop might not be equipped with enough GPU and VRAM to run these models on your machine. So now what is the possibility? Okay, one, not everyone can use the frontier models because they are expensive. Not everyone can run the open models as well because we don't have enough compute. Not everyone has enough compute. So the only option that is left, you can go with the hosted open models, which is actually a cheap option. Now, I'm not talking about self-hosted open models, but there are a lot of companies, there are a lot of providers in this world who host the open models, just like how Kubernetes is hosted by AWS. Now, if you want to use Kubernetes today, you don't have to run Kubernetes on your local machine. You can just go to Amazon Web Services. You can use this service called EKS. The same way, there are hundreds of companies that host these open models and they will provide you with an API key, or you can create an account subscription with them and you can start using them. Now, instead of finding different such providers, what you can do, you can go to a one-stop marketplace that is called as OpenRouter. Perfect. So, what is an OpenRouter? OpenRouter is a one-stop marketplace for open models. You can just get their API key, like create an account with OpenRouter, get an API key. Of course, you have to, initially put some money into your OpenRouter account because if you go with the complete free models, there is a limitation. You cannot use it for your day-to-day work. And then you can decide upon a model. For example, OpenRouter provides DeepSeek V4 Flash, and these are the different providers and these are the costings. Now, initially, when you get started, you don't have to think so much. You can just select this as the model and you can start using it. Just one API key. Tomorrow, if you want to move from DeepSeek, let's say you want to go with GLM. Just select GLM 5.2 and switch your model. OpenRouter supports that. Or maybe you want to go with the Quencoder model, right? Or maybe you want to go with Quen 3.6 Flash. You can switch to that, right? That is the purpose of OpenRouter. OpenRouter is a marketplace for open models. You just have to create an API key and choose the model. Now, the best thing is that Claude, not very recently, but recently added a support for OpenRouter. Now the entire equation becomes very simple. You can use Claude. Along with Claude, you can use OpenRouter, and OpenRouter API key can help you access models like DeepSeek. So, end of the day, you will get the Claude Code experience, but with very less expensive models like DeepSeek. But Abhishek, why are you calling DeepSeek or open models less expensive? There is a reason for that. They are multiple times less expensive. Let me show you. Like if you compare DeepSeek with, let's say, Fable model. For DeepSeek V4 Flash, the input tokens, if you are using 1 million input tokens, you will be charged with 0.14 US dollars. In fact, when I go to OpenRouter site, I still see that further less. But okay, let's say you are not provided with the latest provider or cost effective provider. Still, this is what you are charged: 0.14 for 1 million input tokens and 0.28 for 1 million output tokens. I'll make it simple for you. If you are if you use AI on day-to-day basis, if you are AI user, you would still be costed for this entire setup for 1 month of usage. You will be costed between 200 to 300 INR, Indian rupees. If I have to say this in US dollars, you will be charged between 3 to 4 US dollars. That's it, not more than that. But if you want to do the same thing with Fable, you will be charged 200 US dollars, because for Fable, for 1 million input tokens, you will be charged 10 US dollars, and for 1 million output tokens, you will be charged 50 US dollars. That is the reason why this setup is very, very cost effective. Now you might say, but Abhishek, what is the performance of DeepSeek? If I go with Claude and if I go with the Fable model, I know the performance is very good. Yeah, you can compare the performance of DeepSeek model with Claude Opus 4.7. This also comes with 1 million context window. Or maybe you can compare with DeepSeek Claude Opus 4.6. So if you're okay with this performance, Opus 4.6, Opus 4.7 level performance, you can go with this. In fact, OpenRouter keeps adding the new models. Tomorrow there can be a new AI model, the open model, that can meet the performance of Fable on the OpenRouter. Then you can switch to that as well. Fine. Now that the context is clear, now that you understood why Claude with OpenRouter is best setup for the developers, especially who cannot afford models like Fable, let's go ahead and see the setup. How to configure this. Everything is in this GitHub MD file. There are 5 steps in you can do it. First, I'll go through the steps and then I'll show you on my personal machine. Step 1, you should install Claude Code. Of course, you have to do it. Step 2, create an account with OpenRouter. Just go to the OpenRouter site, openrouter.ai, create an account and click on Get API Key. If you add credits, your API key will start working. Then step 3, configure Claude Code for OpenRouter. These are the steps that I'm going to execute on my terminal. Just 4 export commands. And then by default, Claude Code only knows the Anthropic models. So we will set kind of aliases so that it will start sending the request to the DeepSeek model. And finally, we will just verify. That's it. Abhishek, how much money I have to put into OpenRouter? I think the default thing, when you create an account, you can start with 5 US dollars, which you can use for the entire month. Cool. Now let me pull my terminal. So this is my terminal. I'll take a new tab here. Let me increase the font size. Perfect. Now, by default, if I do Claude, and let me show you, if I just run model, you can see that these are the default models. Opus model, Fable model, Sonnet, Haiku. These are the default ones. I'll just escape. I'll exit Claude Code because I already have Claude Code running. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my OpenRouter key. So for that, this is a step that I'll run. Export OpenRouter API key. So the OpenRouter key that I have, I'll just paste it here. Let me quickly pull that. So this is my OpenRouter key. I'll paste it here. There we go. And then you just have to run this export commands. I'll walk you through them. The first one, export Anthropic base URL. So you are telling Anthropic or you are telling Claude Code, send the request to the OpenRouter API. Do not send the request to the Anthropic API. This is what we are changing. And then Anthropic auth token, we are providing the Anthropic app token as OpenRouter API key. So we are making two significant changes, which is tweaking the behavior of Claude Code. First, we are telling Claude Code, this is going to be your base URL, OpenRouter AI. So send the request to the OpenRouter API. And this is the OpenRouter API key. That is what we are doing with this 4 export commands. Then still, even after you do this, if you just go to Claude and if you look at the model, still Claude just knows these models. It still cannot send your request to the DeepSeek model. So what we are going to do now, so we are just going to run this export command where we are going to say, my bad, I'll just change one model and show you. Probably I'll change the Haiku model. So we are saying export Anthropic default Haiku model to DeepSeek V4 Flash. Now when I do this and when I go to Claude, instead of Haiku model, if I just do slash model, you would see the DeepSeek model, right? So the remaining model stays the same, but instead of Haiku, I can see DeepSeek V4 Flash here. The same way, if I just do the same thing for Sonnet model, just to show you one model is enough. But now if I go to Claude, you will notice when I do slash model, the Sonnet model is also changed to DeepSeek V4 Flash. So this way, you can change one model to DeepSeek V4 Flash. You can change other model to GLM, other model to Coder, whatever you want. Perfect. So I will switch to this model using the up and down arrow. I'll go to DeepSeek V4 Flash and that's it. Now my model is set to this. If my OpenRouter API key is valid, okay, without even adding money to your OpenRouter account, you can create an API key. But when you try to access the model, then what it says, it will give you a 401 authentication error or authorization error, right? But if your OpenRouter API key is valid, then just do this, which what is the model I'm using, explain the characteristics. Okay, just a vague command. Now this will tell me you are using the DeepSeek model. There you go. You are using DeepSeek V4 Flash. This is a speed focused model, cost efficient, not a Claude model, very important. We are not using Claude model, and the context window is 1 million tokens, supports the large context. You can go to your OpenRouter dashboard and you can even see the consumption or the utilization. On timely basis, you can see by default, if you added $5 after doing a project, after creating an entire application, you can just go to the OpenRouter dashboard and see how much money is left in it. Like you have $4 left, $3 left. Once you hit that $0, nothing happens. You will just go back to the same thing. Like you would see the 401 authentication error. Perfect. So this is how you configure Claude Code with OpenRouter and open models like DeepSeek V4 Flash. Especially if you are a student or if you are someone who cannot afford the frontier models, trust me, just do this setup and use Claude Code on your day-to-day basis. In future, open models are going to be super powerful and this setup is going to help you great time. If you still have any questions, do let me know in the comment section. Find the link to this README file in the description as well as the pinned comment. See you all in the next video. Take care.